to Command Center Game Day Live at Northwest Stadium. Here is your host, Brian Colbert Jr., alongside Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell and Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss.
3. Commanders family, we are back home for the first game of the year out here at Northwest Stadium. Our Commanders welcome NFC East rival, the New York Giants, for a Week 2 matchup. These live views are brought to you by Verizon, the network Commanders rely on. Commanders family, we are at the crib. Brian Colbert Jr. here with Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell and Mr. 8 to the 9, Santana Moss. Fellas, we've been waiting a long time for this day. A long time. Now, fellas, y'all been on this field before. Y'all been here for home openers. What is it like knowing you're coming out to 60,000 plus fans screaming and yelling y'all names?
You almost can't sleep that night. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, we played this game for a long time at a very high level. But it's something about that first opener or that first home game. And, you know, even myself, I came into the building like I had to, a couple of more, tread on these tires that I have, man, to go out there and, go streaking down the sideline a couple of times. But it's just one of those experiences, man, like no other. And that's why you want and you hope, that these guys come out here and, and bring it to the G-Man.
Well, I didn't sleep last night. I got up about 4:30 and then I went back to sleep, woke up again about 5:45. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Am I playing today? But when you get in front of your crowd for the first time, you want to come out here, to be honest, you want to damn well be perfect. And you want to come out because you want to put a good showing out when it's your fan base. And, Jaden, I'm sure he's excited. This group, all the guys that haven't played at home in a regular season game, when this place is packed, they're about to find out, because they're going to bring some energy, and the players got to match that on the field.
And Commanders family, we are so excited for this show today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be having Fred Smoot join us. We're going to be Logan Paulson join us. But before we get into anything else, we need to hear from our fearless leader, head coach Dan Quinn.
There's a lot that goes into the division because you'll know both teams know each other better when you're playing the first game. Usually the matchups, who's new, who's different, what's been the same and what will be played different. The second time, what new wrinkles can you expect? But I would say, man, like to be a part of this, like what a cool honor. Like this is a strong division and has been for a history of ball. So it's really cool to be a part of it, and so to have. Be a part of this game, with Washington and New York, man, we're fired up. But the division, it's a really big deal, and we recognize that and talked about that today.
Great to hear from our head coach, Dan Quinn, as he approaches his first home game as the Commanders head coach and the first division game of his Commanders career. Let's get right into Gimme 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. Now, fellas, for this Gimme 5, we are going to just get into storylines. And our first storyline, of course, is Jaden Daniels' first home game in front of these incredible fans. They've been here all morning. They've been tailgating. I see in all kind of videos, man. What do you expect to see from Jaden now that he's at the crib getting to play in front of his home cooking?
Well, I just hope to see this is going to be a different game for him than the game was last week with Tampa. Tampa's going to blitz, so he didn't have a chance really to just go out there and get relaxed. Against the Giants, they're not going to blitz as much, but their front four is supposed to be real good, but Tyler Biadasz in the middle is going to help him out. I think he'll have a little easier time because they're not blitzing as much. And we already know that kid, when he's not rushed, he knows how to handle business. So I'm looking forward to him having a stellar game today.
Yeah, and you go into this game hoping that they don't probably, send the kitchen sink, everybody in the kitchen sink, but this is a copycat league. Yeah. And most of the times when a team see one team be successful, they try to implement a little bit of that in their scheme. So I'm hoping this is going to be one of those favorable matchups for them, knowing that, hey, last week we didn't throw the ball as much to the outside guys. Guess what? The G-Man coming in here today saying, okay, they might throw the ball to the outside guys. We have to be able to counter that. Counter what they think we're going to do and go out there and do something different. So hopefully we can slow the game down a lot for them by getting our run game established. I think seeing B-Rob, seeing Eckler out there running up and down the field, that would slow things down for him. And then him, he's going to be special regardless if he's throwing the ball or running with the ball. But I'm hoping that we can come into this game plan with a little more production out of our running backs.
And fellas, as we started the show, we said it. This isn't just Jaden Daniels' first game. It's Dan Quinn's first game as well, and it's against the NFC East opponent, first home game. What do you expect to see from Dan Quinn and going against this Giants coaching staff?
Well, I think the ultimate thing is Dan comes in with the mindset and the reputation of being a coach that has aggressive defenses.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the coach wants the players, the whole team, not just defense, but offense and special teams, to have that same mindset. Last week, a lot of people would say that they didn't have the aggression on defense. Well, today is that opportunity. This new fan base are excited to find out exactly what everything about. And they want to see that the Dan Quinn that we saw leading the team in Seattle when he was the coordinator. Want to see the Dan Quinn that went to the Super Bowl in Atlanta. The Dan Quinn that was playing against us the last few years in Dallas and was wreaking havoc on us. They want to see that team do the same thing. And listen, last week I was shocked that we didn't play with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know, Dan was shocked.
Yeah.
And hopefully this team comes up today and say, that was just a one-nomer, okay? That's not going to happen again.
What I think coming into this game, we've been hearing all week long that, you know, when it comes to this matchup, you know, they have our number. They've had the Commanders' number for the last, 4 or 5 years. I think your guy, Dan, I can't say Danny Dimes, but,
Danny Pennies.
he's, 5-1-1 against us. But when you think about Dan Quinn against the Giants, you know what I mean? Now, this is his era. So we can put all that stuff that happened in the past with the Commanders and talk about our head coach. He has a pretty good record against these guys. He know how to beat these guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing that Dan Quinn scheme offensively and defensively to go out here and attack these big G men.
And BMitch, you mentioned Danny Pennies. Well, he is our next handline because we got to put the pause on Daniel Jones. Getting him, he's got sacked 5 times in week 1.
Yeah.
5 times. There has to be a recipe for
5
success
more
for us. How can we take advantage of that?
Well, last week we look at it, okay, they got to Baker Mayfield last week 6 times.
Yeah.
They didn't get him down once.
Yeah.
If they get him down, that game changes. So if you get to Danny Jones today, you have to get him down. And because we know if he breaks the pocket, he can hurt you with his legs.
No doubt.
So I would just say play under control. A lot of times people can go on defense and try to do too much individually, and they would not make the tackle. Like when we were playing against I forgot his name, Barry Sanders, the coaches would say, do not attack him. Because if you attack him, he's going to use you against your teammate. So you wait for him to commit, like make Daniel Jones commit. He's not a guy going to sit in the pocket and just pick you apart, but he will hurt you with his legs. So they have to make his life hard today.
Yeah.
And when you get to him, get him down to the ground.
Well, you have a guy coming in off a knee injury from last year. How confident is he with that knee? You know what I mean? Test him. See if he can get outside that pocket and do some of the things off schedule like he's been, beating us with in the past. So you force him to be that guy of old. But then at the same time, we know that guy of old is what gave us, problems because he get outside the pocket and he find yards with his legs. But I want him to see this guy throw the ball, which I thought going into last year, he did that pretty well. People wasn't high on him. But one of the things about what he didn't like is being in that pocket. He found his way trying to get outside that pocket. So those guys up front is going to be key for me. I want to see Payne and Allen, cause havoc up front to push that pocket, collapse that pocket a little more, and make him escape. He has to use that athleticism, and let's see if we can get our guys on the edge to get some tackles or get some sacks.
And Teddy, talk about those guys up front. Let's flip it, right?
Yeah.
Our offensive line versus their defensive line. We only gave up 2 sacks, but we saw Jaden Daniels knew to call it when it was quits, right? He knew to get out of that pocket. We would have been happy to see just 2 sacks in the game. We saw that in the first quarter last season.
Yeah.
How do we continue to protect Jaden Daniels and give him a little more time in that pocket so we can make those deep throws?
I mean, those guys have to grow together. I think last week we saw a sample size of what they can be. We came into that game knowing that, those guys up front for Tampa, they had a pretty good run stopper inside that was going to cause some problems, and they had a couple of compadres on the outside that can, cause havoc. But we went out there and stood to the test. I saw at times he had plenty of time to get rid of the football. But being a young guy, when you have that ability, hey, I'm playing football. I'm going to play it the way I know. So he made things happen with his legs. I think going forward today, you got 2 guys you got to be thinking about.
And B, to Tanner's point, right, we're going to get to our 5th headline, which is our running a game.
Yeah.
Now, Jaden Daniels had 16 rushes. I think Dan Quinn said that wasn't necessarily in the game plan. However, we're happy to see a quarterback know when to call it quits and get out of that pocket instead of getting there, getting sacked, fumbling the ball. How important is this rush game to beat the New York Giants?
Well, I think the rush game is very important because what happens if you start running the football and now they have to start worried about stopping the run. Then that guy who's a bad man, number 17, Terry McLaurin, he begins to have space. He begins to have one-on-one matchups. And then now when you try to worry about the running backs, all of a sudden when Jaden Daniels break the pocket, he can go the distance. But that we want the passing game to open up. Those tight ends coming on right behind the linebackers, the running backs leaking out late. Those things, when you start running the football, you have an opportunity to do whatever you want. At that point, you can just pick your poison. And because when you can run the ball on the team, they know they have problems.
Fellas, we have a lot more to talk about, but before we do that, let's get into our most rewarding odds presented by Fanatics Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the Washington Commanders. Please play responsibly. If you need to call somebody, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, here's a look into today's NFC matchup with the New York Giants. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. from right here at Northwest Stadium. You can tune in on Fox or listen on Big 100. Now, the Commanders are 1.5-point underdogs with a money line of negative 120 with the over-under of 44. Now, that's your odds for you. Now, in football, you've got the game and the game before the game. And for Commanders fans, there's one place to be. At Fanatics Sportsbook at Northwest Stadium, you'll experience a pregame like no other. DJ, surprise guest appearances from Commanders alumni, promos you can only get in retail, even one of those wheel-spinning things where you win prizes. And of course, bets, beer, and awesome food. So let's place a bet before the game. Meet your heroes, come and go as you wish. All at Fanatics Sportsbook, located at Gate H within Northwest Stadium. We'll see you there. Must be 21 plus or older. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now we have to go to Great Commanders family, but when we get back, we are going to be talking a lot of fun things with this Commanders. We're going to be hearing from our radio broadcast team, all that and more when we come back from break. Commanders family, don't go anywhere.
This is Command Center Game Day Live at Northwest Stadium.
Is my head really that shape? Probably just impressionism. Wait, is he a genius? Should we start saving for our school?
When your questions about life turn into questions about money, there's Erica, the virtual financial assistant to help you spend, save, and plan smarter. Only from Bank of America. What would you like the power to do?
Hold on. New Bet365 customers get how much? That can't be right.
It's true. Join Bet365 today and get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. You could spend them on bets like the spread, run line, totals, and player props.
Well, there you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
This is my legacy!
Tacoma has a dominant legacy as America's favorite small pickup for almost 2 decades. Known for reliability and capability. Now buy a Tacoma with low 4.99 APR or lease an SR for $279 a month.
This is my legacy.
Toyota, let's go places.
VetTix secures unused event tickets to give back to the military and veteran community. The mission? To strengthen family bonds, build lifelong memories, and encourage service members and vets to stay engaged in their community. Giving out over 15 million tickets since 2008, VetTix continues to give something to those who gave. To find out how you can help give once-in-a-lifetime experiences to our veterans, service members, and their families, visit vettix.org today.
Oh, game's on. We need more chips. More dip, too.
More?
Yes, more. Oh, that reminds me. We can still score that $400 bonus from Northwest if we hurry. It's with your first ever checking account.
$400? That's the kind of more I like.
Then let's do it. But first, more chips.
To earn bonus, open first ever checking account and deposit at least $500 in ACH or direct deposits per month within the first 90 days. Limited time offers subject to change without notice. Details at nwfcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
The energy is growing as fans start to roll in for week 2 against the New York Giants. Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live. You can see we've got the live look of pregame and warm-ups. We'll have those views for you up all pregame long, but it's time to get further into today's matchup. Brian Colbert Jr. here with Brian Mitchell and Juan Romero, our play-by-play guy. Man, how you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
I'm here ready. Opening day, you can smell it in the air. Opening day at home.
Man. I mean, how great is it to be back here, man? Because you're such a big part of our broadcast, too, right? I know we feel good, man. I laid out my fit the night before like it was the first day of school, man. How excited are you to be here?
I already went over the stats in my head and everything. I'm excited, super excited about this season. You know, there's a lot of excitement around our rookie QB, a lot of excitement about the new regime starting. So definitely, you can feel it out in the parking lots coming inside. You can feel it on the buzz and on the Twitter and all that stuff. People are ready.
And I mean, of course, people are excited and ready because this is an NFC East matchup, man.
Definitely.
Been around the block a long time, man. How important are these rivalry games to the fan base?
Oh, man, they're the best because, you know, you got to talk trash to your friends. Unfortunately, these last few years haven't been good for us in our division, but, you know, we need to get back on top. That's what we need to do.
Well, you talk about the excitement around it. When you come in here personally, I walked in today, and I'm looking at stuff that didn't look like it doesn't look like it used to look.
Oh, for sure.
And you can just see a new life in this thing. What kind of feeling you get when you walk through personally?
No, it's always an excitement, but this year is special. It's special, I think. A lot of people, there's a lot of different signage around the stadium. It's just like peeling a new layer, you know what I mean? So it feels like a lot more exciting this year.
BMitch, I was able to lock and close the bathroom stall when I got it, man. I was happy, man. I was like, look at the things that are changing. It's beautiful, and a big part of that change is our quarterback, Jayden Daniels. Man, how much fun has it been to watch him progress through OTAs, training camp, see him in preseason, see him for his first game? How much fun has that been to watch the progression?
I mean, everything we've been seeing at training camp has been positive. All the steps he's been taking towards getting the starting job. And then all of a sudden, last week also in his first game, Rookie of the Week in his first game. All the stuff is exciting points to hit. And especially, in our Hispanic broadcast, Hispanic community, you're starting to see, people talking about it. Hey, how's Jayden? How's Jayden? It's starting to create a buzz.
And Juan, you mentioned Hispanic Heritage. Well, it's Hispanic Heritage Month here. How important is it for us to celebrate these times, man, and highlight such an amazing group of people, such an amazing culture?
It's definitely something that has been going on in the NFL for a while now, especially in the states in the cities where there was a lot more bigger Hispanic population. Now, over the last few years, the Commanders have recognized that this is a large Hispanic population. Central America, Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and then you have the Caribbean, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and South American, Bolivian, Colombian, Peruvian. There's a lot of people from everywhere. We're a melting pot amongst the Hispanic community. A lot of us, Mexicans too, of course.
And how important is that that the team reaches out and show that love and support?
Right now, I think it's important that the team reaches out to all communities, especially such a growing community, that growing numbers, and the numbers prove it. There's Spanish coverage of all important NFL games, and it just keeps growing and growing, and I think it's just going to take off here as well.
And you know what? Since you're here, we have something real special. We're going to gear up for kickoff with our item of the game. It's time to gear up for kickoff, presented by Fanatics. Now, my lovely producer, Maddie Benton, is bringing us a couple of items. These are at the team, so go ahead. Show those off for us, fellas. Show those off for us. We got the jacket right here. Now, what they like to do is,
I get a small.
Fanatics don't like to give us real size. They like to give us small because they know we're going to take these and keep them. They're not going to get them back. So y'all will get these back because they smalls. They will not fit us. However, you can get this at the team store.
Definitely. Corinto, definitely someone who's been working with the Commanders for a couple seasons now. Definitely unique designs. Representing the Hispanic, population, Hispanic culture.
We need some of these, man. We look
like
good in these jackets right here.
Extra large, please. Extra large.
Hey, Juan, thank you so much for your time. It was great hearing from you,
Let me just shout out that we are on the iHeartRadio app. If you want to listen to it in Spanish, just download the iHeartRadio app, and that's where you're able to hear us.
And you know what? We're going to send it down to some more members of our team. We want to hear from Fred Smoot and Logan Paulson. It is time for Best Seat in the House, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. Logan and Fred, how y'all doing down there?
Hey, Brian, thanks so much. Fred, hopefully we get hey, Pierre, come on over here, man. Yeah, when you're on the sideline, you never know who's going to stop by. Yes. Pierre is an alum. Yes. How do you feel about Jayden Daniels' Week 1 performance? Does it give you optimism? How are we feeling?
It gives me a lot of optimism. He gets us out of trouble with his legs. He has an arm, so I'm excited. I know it's going to be growing pains, but he's a bright future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see you saying what's up to Ryan. You're like a celebrity out here, man. Is it good to see everybody back in the fold?
Man, it's always good to see you guys, the guys that we went to war with, the guys that are having fun now after football life, and they're still doing well, so it's always good to see those guys, man.
Yeah, most definitely. I want to ask you this, too, because you did get a chance to play with RG3.
Yes.
So you know how it feels to be with a dual quarterback.
Yes.
What's the best thing for a wide receiver to know when you got a quarterback that makes most of his plays outside of the pocket?
The play is never dead. That's the thing. When the quarterback can run with his legs, you always have an opportunity because he has the option to throw it and run, and when the play starts, break it down, he will run and extend the play. So you always stay open, stay available, stay ready for the quarterback.
Yeah, and have you seen, so obviously, I don't know if you've talked to Dan Quinn, but I'm sure you've seen some of his press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how important is having that head coach that's kind of building this new culture? You've been a part of a bunch of different teams. Kyle when he was in San Fran, Mike when he was here. That head coach, that culture, how important is that?
It's very important, you know, having a great leader that's going to make the guys follow his standard, and that's important for any football player, any team to have a great leader, and we definitely love Dan Quinn and love the direction he's taking the team.
Now, Pierre, I got to ask you this because I've been very excited with this new era we got going on. New ownership, new GM, new head coach, new quarterback. Yes. How excited are you about this new Washington area, this new Washington everything?
I'm excited. It reminds me when I came here, you know, we had a new beginning, and this is how I feel. So I'm enjoying it. I'm excited, and I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward to all the positives and success on the field.
Now, I got to ask you some football stuff. Yes. All right, on defense, you know, like, listen, I got to ask you this. On defense, how do Daniel Jones seems to have his best games against us. How do we bottle up a Daniel Jones and take his confidence early?
You know, we get the D-line to get after the quarterback, make him uncomfortable. We hit the receivers hard. You know, we got a rookie receiver that they're kind of throwing at and trying to get the ball to, so we have to get after the quarterback and hit the receivers, offensive player hard so they remember.
Yeah, and it's really cool, Fred, talking about that defensive line, like how effective they were last week. They were creating a lot of pressure but not finishing those rushes. I think today they'll have that opportunity to finish those rushes.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Pierre, and then let's talk about the secondary a little bit. Obviously a bunch of young guys.
Yes.
You're a receiver.
Yes.
When you saw those young rookies on the paper getting ready for that week, how'd that make you feel?
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but it did show on Sunday because there was a lot of veteran receivers on the other side.
Yeah.
They took advantage of it, but those guys will learn. As DBs, as young DBs, you have a short memory. You go back next week and you make up for all the other stuff that went wrong. But I'm excited in the young DBs. Those guys are playing tough.
Yeah, Logan, this is a question for you right here. All right, check this one out. Like, if you're the Giants and you're watching the game that from Tampa last week, and you're looking at our defense, and you have Daniel Jones, you have Malik Neighbors, you know about the running game that they have, how do you attack this defense?
Yeah, I think for me, I'd look at exactly what Tampa did, the things that provided consternation, right? They did a lot of motion. They motioned to bunches. They challenged their rules in man-to-man coverage, right? They ran a lot of trap and wham. If I'm Brian Daboll, it's like, I love trap. I love ram. Let's run those runs and see if they get it corrected. Let's see if they got their bunch rules corrected. Pierre, you know better than anybody how getting to that bunch really messes with the communication in the back end, right, for those guys. So I'm saying that if I'm Brian Daboll, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to flip that question to you, Fred. Defensively, or our defense, right? When we look at that New York offense, like what weaknesses do you see?
Yeah. Well, of course, they still have problems on the O-line, if you ask me. And when you talk about an offense, it always starts with the trigger man. It always starts with the quarterback. The one thing about Daniel Jones you cannot do today is let him get his confidence up. Like, this is not about him completing a 50-yard pass or getting a 50-yard run. Do not let him get his confidence up with dinking and dunking the ball around. Like, and Malik Neighbors, because they got him in the game so late last week, I'm looking for them to try to get him into the game early and often. You cannot let that happen, and you cannot let the running game. I don't know how paramount that is. You can't let the running game. They need no other options.
And so, Pierre, I'm glad you're here because, like, you know receivers better than anybody. What do you think of Malik Neighbors? What is his future, and how do we slow him down? How do we keep him from kind of actualizing all that potential?
The way to slow him down, you disrupt him off the line of scrimmage.
Like press.
Yes. You slow him down that way. Like you say, he's a great receiver, a big guy, physical, but you make him work for everything that he gets. Yeah. After a while, they get tired and they don't want to, be physical through 4 quarters, but that's how you disrupt him, slow him down.
Did you ever have games like that where you felt like you got disrupted a little bit?
Not really, because I enjoyed the contact, so it kind of riled me up.
Yeah.
So,
Big physical wide receiver. I mean, Fred, who do you think's the best matchup for us from a defensive back standpoint?
Yep. I like Igbenogany on him because I feel like he's a big guy that can actually run with him. With St. Jude, the one thing I had as a cornerback was, because I was so long, I did well against the tall receivers, but the small receivers gave me problems because I could lose vision on them. And Malik Neighbors is a flash in the pan. He's a guy that can get in and out of his cuts. So like he said, I want to disrupt him. I want to fight him all game. Like at the end of the day, he should know he was in a four-quarter brawl after this game is over with.
And, you know, Benjamin St. Juste is probably our most consistent corner.
Yeah.
Do you think he matches up well with Malik Neighbors, or would you pick a different guy?
Well, we just talked about size versus speed.
Yeah.
That's why I said Ikbenogamy, I think, has the body type that allows him to play with him.
Yeah.
If I'm the New York Giants, I would search out that matchup of Neighbors and St. Juste.
Interesting.
Only because of the height difference in the way that you play out coming out the cuts.
Pierre, thanks so much for joining us, man. I can't wait to watch the game today. It's going to be so much fun. Brian, back to you.
Shout out to Fred and Logan Paulson. It's not every day you get a legend like Pierre Garçon to join the show, but that's what we do here on Command Center Game Day Live. Now, we are just getting started, but when we come back, BMitch and Santana Moss are taking a deep dive into the offense. And later in the show, we're telling you how we can set the tone from our house right here in Landover. We'll be right back after this break, Commanders family. Don't go nowhere.
A legacy is earned with generations of proven reliability, standing tall through the test of time, leading, innovating to build the best vehicles with the best value. Because the greatest memories begin with the journey.
This is my legacy.
Toyota, let's go places.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least insulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket?
No, but we do make them work.
Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the Seat View feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.
Breaking news and a surprise contender in the marathon.
Yes, Rachel, someone has caught up to the front. He's carrying a fridge.
Something remarkable has just happened.
Talk about keeping your eye on the ball.
What's happening courtside?
From half court, he got it!
I can't believe what I'm seeing. Over to baseball. Richmond's gonna win this.
No way. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live. We are just moments away from game time from out here at Northwest Stadium. And you can see your Commanders on the field gearing up for this one, Commanders family. Our guys are ready to take on NFC East rival, the New York Giants. Now, it's time to talk about our never ordinary performances presented by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Fellas, I got some offensive juggernauts here, so let's get into the offense right now. BMitch, you wanted to talk about Tyler Biadasz and this offensive line.
And the reason is because everyone talks about the left tackle. The most important person on that offensive line is your center because he calls the plays. He sets up all the strength, blocking schemes where you're going to go. And also, Tyler Biadasz has great games against Dexter Lawrence. Okay? When he goes against him, he doesn't get sacks. He has maybe 1 or 2 tackles. No tackle for losses. So you mean this guy could come in and nullify a guy like Dexter Lawrence. We've seen him wreak havoc in our backfield. And if you have a center in the middle who can handle that guy one-on-one, you have to go along with it. Now you can game plan based off of that. So I go with Tyler Biadasz today for the never ordinary because I believe he's going to have a never ordinary game, and he's going to upset Dexter Lawrence's mindset today.
And somebody who's going to need Biadasz to have a never ordinary game, it's going to be Jaden Daniels, right? He has to have a never ordinary game as well. His second game, his first one at the crib. Tanner, why does he need to be never ordinary?
I know when you heard me say Jaden Daniels, you're probably saying, but he's just a rookie, or it's only his second game. With all that being said, he can't be ordinary because he's the quarterback. And that's one of the things I say, you know, when you have a quarterback with the skill sets of a Jaden Daniels, when you have a quarterback that's coming to a team that is in dire need of a quarterback to lead us, he don't have chances to be regular. He got to go out there and play above any other guys on that field level. So I picked Jaden Daniels because I feel like his skill set alone allow him to get out of danger, get out of harm's way. We didn't see much of his arm last week, but I think this week will be that week that we see that arm, and that Giants secondary don't want to see those guys that we have streaking down the sideline behind him. So that's one of the reasons why I picked Jaden Daniels, because he can never be ordinary. He has to be special today.
And fellas, y'all took great ones, so I am left with lightning and thunder. Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler. We rushed over 30 times. That's the first time we've done that since 2020, all last season. All we kept saying, give B. Rob the ball. And that is what Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn did. How important is it for those two to be never ordinary once again, not only in the rushing game, but also in the passing game as well?
It takes pressure off of your quarterback. Okay, if you run the football effectively, your passing game becomes easy. If you run the football effectively, all of a sudden those defensive linemen on the other side, they get off a little slower. They get more tired. Because when you're having success as an offensive lineman, you don't get tired. You're enforcing and inflicting the pain on them. They're accepting. So they're going to wear down, and that's how you see it. When you see those guys go to those long drives, the offensive linemen, they cool. The D linemen running off field, getting tired, and if they can do that, they'll make it a lot better for your quarterback.
Run games have always been vital to me and my success, I believe. You know, I think it's hard for a receiver to say that, hey, you know, I love to have a run game. No, I thrived off it. I thrived off of knowing that I had a back that's going to get some of those hard yardage for us and then allow things to be different in the secondary. Because, you know, once the running back gets going, now we start pulling guys from different positions in the box. And now I get those favorable matchups on the outside. So that's why I've always loved to have a guy that can, you know, go the distance in the backfield, because I know eventually the defense got to show something different. They have to change that coverage to make sure they stop those guys up front, and that's when I get my one-on-one matchup.
And Commanders family, I know you're asking, what about the passing game? Yes, we struggled to move the ball a little bit. I think Terry only had one catch last game. But I don't want to call one player out because we have a plethora of new guys. This is a brand new receiving core. How do we get the passing game going in this game, BMitch?
Well, I think the whole thing about it is everybody has to go out and win. It's not just about Terry. Okay, you have Noah Brown, the guy's going to be up today. Okay, you have De'Ami Brown on their team, Luke McCaffrey. It's their job to go out there and win their matchups. But ultimately, as you run that football, the passing game becomes, like Tanner stated, favorable matchups. One-on-one. There's not a receiver in the league, it better not be one, not on this team, that doesn't believe he could beat somebody one-on-one. So when you get those matchups, now the quarterback understands, I saw you over there. I threw it to Terry this time. I'm coming back to you because I saw you beat the guy. And then guys should be in the huddle letting them know, I got a one-on-one matchup out there. That should be disrespectful to anybody. If they put one guy on you, what you doing?
Hey, call his mama.
You know, you
have
to have that mindset. And I believe when you start building that level of confidence on the football field, that passing game don't just get better, it blows up.
And Tanner, real quick, because you have been out there, man, an elite receiver, a #1 guy. What are you thinking when you come in here, rough first game, only one catch, not a lot of targets? What are you saying to yourself when you step on that field as a #1 receiver?
Well, I'm okay. We all are mad. We all are upset. You know, one of the things about being a competitor, you want to be the best every time you step on the field. So, yes, it's in my head that night after that game. But going forward that week, I'm gonna put the effort to go out there and work so hard that week in practice that they know, look, we're not gonna have this 2 weeks in a row. And with that being said, you still have to come in here with an ease mind that's saying, look, allow this game to flow my way. I can't press and be hollering about the ball because now I'm going to get myself out of my game. So that was the way I did things. You know, a lot of guys do things different. There's a lot of guys that beat their chest all day, say throw me the ball and still go out there and be productive. Myself and I will allow the game to flow my way because I know once I get that favorable matchup, you got to hit me. And now if you miss me in the favorable matchup, now I'm talking to the coach on the sideline like, man, something got to give.
Hey, man, cool on and off the field. Santana Moss, always. Now we have to go to break. When we get back, the guys will be talking about the players they're most excited to see. And before kickoff, we have some predictions, Commanders family. Don't go anywhere after the break. We will be back to talk more things Commanders from Northwest Stadium.
VetTix secures unused event tickets to give back to the military and veteran community. The mission? To strengthen family bonds, build lifelong memories, and encourage service members and vets to stay engaged in their community. Giving out over 15 million tickets since 2008, VetTix continues to give something to those who gave. To find out how you can help give once-in-a-lifetime experiences to our veterans, service members, and their families, visit vettix.org today.
Get more for less with Nissan's epic offering of 6 2024 models starting under $30K. Like the award-winning Sentra, the best-selling Rogue, and the all-electric Leaf. All with available Safety Shield 360. Visit your local Nissan dealer to check out the affordable lineup of Nissan vehicles today.
Now get 0% APR financing for 36 months on the 2024 Nissan Rogue Platinum.
Welcome back to Command Center Game Day Live. You can see our guys out on the field, but you can see our fans out in the stands. They have been here all morning. They have been tailgating. They have been getting loud. It is nothing better than seeing our fans out here. Now, here's a look at today's money matchup brought to you by Northwest Federal Credit Union, where trust matters. Now, here's a scouting report on today's opponent. In week 1, the Giants offense struggled to get things going. Daniel Jones threw for just 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, being sacked 5 times in week 1. And they only had 74 rushing yards as a team. But there was one bright spot, and that was rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors. He's familiar with Jaden Daniels. They played out at LSU together. And on the defensive side, they got an interception, just 1 sack, and 4 tackles for losses. Fellas, you've seen the numbers there. Let's get right into it. This matchup right here, I think a lot of people see it as a favorable one for us, both teams losing, but the Giants do cause some problems, don't they, BMitch?
Defensively?
Yeah.
They cause a lot of problems defensively, but the ultimate thing is we have an offensive line I think should be able to hinder that for them. And I think when you flip it over to our offense against, our defense against their offense, there's another opportunity because I believe last week, when you look at that game and you don't see the sacks on Baker Mayfield, you go, oh, they wasn't getting pressure. But they had 6 times, they had him in their grasp and they let him go. Just imagine if they get 3 sacks there, or 4 of those sacks. That game is different. And I think today you have to make sure when you have the opportunity, you have to finish. You know, and Dan talks about that, Joe talks about it, finish, and also if you have a chance to catch the ball. St. Jude's had a jump.
Yeah.
You need to take that thing back. Yeah. You know, you have to intercept those balls because when you look at that, it was a missed interception. It was a pass interference downfield. Boom, they got a touchdown. If we don't get the pass interference, we get the interception, they don't score. You have to be able to go out there and capitalize.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Joe Witt talks about a lot, you know, with his defense is how he wants them to play violently, you know what I mean, physical, you know, fast, fly around. And you saw that at times. I think especially up front. BMitch just alluded to it. Those guys was getting back there. They just wasn't getting their hands around them enough to bring them down. And so I think going forward today, it should be one of those things where we see these guys make more of an effort. You know, I'm pretty sure that they worked on tackling last week in practice. You know how it is, BMitch.
Oh, yeah.
If you do something bad in the game, we gonna
work on
that this week. So I want to see those guys do that. But I think one of the things that I love the most about them, they always flying around. And we're going to need to see these guys fly around like that today because I think if we do that and get Daniel Jones rattled enough, it should be coming our way a lot.
And Tanner, one guy that knows how to fly around.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a rookie out there. Had 5 catches for 66 yards, even though the Giants offense struggled. How do we slow a guy like Malik Neighbors down? Emmanuel Forbes is out, just had surgery. How do we slow Malik Neighbors down?
Next guy up. You know what I mean?
Next man
guy
up.
I mean, it really don't really matter like who you are. I mean, you know, we get so caught up on whether it's a guy's a rookie, a young guy, older guy, veteran. I think that all these guys have a job. You know what I mean? And when you fail to realize is that our cornerbacks put their pants on, their socks on, their shoes on the same way those receivers on the other side put theirs on. It's just about you going out there and winning your down. And I think that's what we take for granted a lot of times. We looking at this thing as 11 on 11, but if each man on that side win their down, win their position, win their goal, then we have a chance to win that down. So whoever's on them, make sure that you handle your business because everybody else should do their job. If you do yours, that's how we get off the field.
Everybody needs to do their job. And fellas, we are doing our job here at the crib in Northwest Stadium. Everybody's excited. The fans are here excited. So it's time to get into our most exciting players to watch. Presented by Nissan. At Nissan, we make cars that thrill. Experience the thrill for yourself today. Shop Nissan at USA.com. Now, our exciting players to watch. BMitch, surprise, surprise. You got Terry McLaurin, 1-7, and it's his birthday today, BMitch.
Well, it's his birthday today, and the thing about it, last week, it wasn't all because of Terry that he didn't have the production that he normally gets in the games. But I know Terry. Terry is a super competitive person, so you can see him going to come out here today. The Giants, and almost every time he goes to get him, he gets 5 receptions or more. I expect that to continue today because he's not happy about what happened last week. He's going to go out there to prove a point today.
And Tanner, you got Deron Payne down there, another guy you're really looking to ball out today.
Yeah, I mean, Deron Payne was, if you watched that game last week, he moved that offensive line so much in the backfield. He had this guy on skates at times. He's the guy that can put a lot of pressure on the team. I want to see him, come up with some of them. I think he missed like 2 of them last week that he had in his hands. He's going to be very special today, though. Daniel Jones, I'm looking at him. I'm looking to see him not be as, able to run the ball like he did in the past. Deron Payne should be special in bringing them down.
And of course, our NFC East guy, Zack S, we are looking to see him again. And I've seen him a lot in that backfield in training camp. I mean, in the back of that end zone. We want to see that again. Now, Commanders fans, we are just 20 minutes away from kickoff here at Northwest Stadium, which means it is time for BMitch and Santana to be put to the test. You won't want to miss their 2-minute drills all right here in just 90 seconds. Stay with us, Commanders family.
Hold on. New Bet365 customers get how much? That can't be right.
It's true. Join Bet365 today and get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. You could spend them on bets like the spread, run line, totals, and player props.
Well, there you have it. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Oh, game's on. We need more chips. More dip, too.
More?
Yes, more. Oh, that reminds me. We can still score that $400 bonus from Northwest if we hurry. It's with your first ever checking account.
$400? That's the kind of more I like.
Then let's do it. But first, more chips.
To earn bonus, open first ever checking account and deposit at least $500 in ACH or direct deposits per month within the first 90 days. Limited time offers subject to change without notice. Details at nwfcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
Love this? Then you'll really like this. Because it leads to this. While this leads to this, and this. 100% verified NFL tickets only from Ticketmaster. Take it to the house every time. Ticketmaster, official marketplace of the NFL.
Get more for less with Nissan's epic offering of 6 2024 models starting under $30K. Like the award-winning Sentra, the best-selling Rogue, and the all-electric Leaf. All with available Safety Shield 360. Visit your local Nissan dealer to check out the affordable lineup of Nissan vehicles today.
Now get 0% APR financing for 36 months on the 2024 Nissan Rogue Platinum.
Welcome back into Command Center Game Day live from Northwest Stadium. We are just a few minutes away from kickoff, which means it's time to play fast, win fast. Brought to you by Maryland Lottery, please play responsibly. Fellas, we are just moments away from the end of the game, so let's get these final thoughts. What are y'all expecting to see here today?
Well, I'm expecting to see a totally different team than I saw last week. I'm thinking this team is going to come out here and play with the energy and the level of confidence that Dan Quinn has been trying to preach all year. I want to see them go out there and be physical. If you're physical, like I've seen them do in practice, they win this football game.
Well, you have two teams that's trying to get back right. You know, I mean, you have a team in the Giants that feel like we're not a rivalry, but then you have this rivalry that everybody in the division know that it's a rivalry. I think for us, man, this team is looking to come out here and do what they've been saying all year: play fast, play physical, and get a dub.
Fellas, man, first home game, Hispanic Heritage Month, Wale at halftime, Terry McLaurin's birthday, and us here doing pregame. And we will be back for post-game live, giving you coach sound and player sound and analysis after we get this W, baby, because I'm feeling good. We're at the crib, Northwest Stadium, Commanders family. Until post-game live, enjoy the game.
Peace.